President Donald Trump said Wednesday he's very disappointed over Russia's strikes on Ukraine and claims he told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to hold off on Iran's strike as U.S. pushes for new nuclear deal. According to Associated Press speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said that he has told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to hold off on an Iran strike to give the U.S. administration more time to push for new nuclear deal with Tehran. Trump's comments on Wednesday came as the head of the United Nations atomic watchdog said that the jury is still out on negotiations between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program. But Rafael Mariano Grossi described the continuing negotiations as a good sign.
There's no question. There's no doubt. We have no doubt you're going to be fantastic. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, on Russia.
Mr. President.
On Russia, Mr. President.
Please.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, who's doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. That I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now, where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you said yesterday that Putin is playing with fire. What will be the consequences for Russia if Russia continues to
Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly, but the words speak pretty loud. We're not happy about that situation. I think we're doing very well with Iran. I think we're doing very well with Gaza. But we are doing very well with Iran, and I think we're going to see something very sensible, because there are only two outcomes. You know what the two outcomes is: a smart outcome and there's a violent outcome, and I don't think anybody wants to see the second. But I think we've made a lot of progress, and we'll see. You know, they still have to agree to the final stages of a document, but I think you could be very well surprised what happens there, and it'd be a great thing for them. They could have a great country into the future. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. President, back on Iran, did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question, please.
Just last on sanctions.
I did, yeah.
If Senate Republicans want to push
It's not a warning. I said I don't think it's appropriate.
What exactly did you tell him? Did you
I just said I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him, and I said I don't think it's appropriate right now, because if we can settle it with a very strong document, very strong, with inspections and no trust. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. So no trust. I want it very strong, where we can go in with inspectors, we can take whatever we want, we can blow up whatever we want, but nobody getting killed. We can blow up a lab, but nobody's going to be in the lab, as opposed to everybody being in the lab and blowing it up, right? Two ways of doing it. Yeah, I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now, because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment, could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal, and if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
When do you think a deal could happen on Iran?
On which?
A deal with Iran could happen. When do you
I don't know. I think over the next couple of weeks, if it happens. Yeah. All right, please go ahead.
What stopped you from imposing new sanctions on Russia?
Only the fact that if I think I'm close to getting a deal, I don't want to screw it up by doing that. Let me tell you, I'm a lot tougher than the people you're talking about, but you have to know when to use that. If I think it's going to hurt a deal, this isn't my war. This is Biden's war, Zelenski's war, and Putin's war. This isn't Trump's war.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov suggested Tuesday that the decision for Ukraine to strike deep into Russia with Western weapons was made some time ago. According to Associated Press commenting on remarks made by the German Chancellor on long-range Ukrainian strikes into Russian territory, Lavrov said that such a decision must have been made long ago but kept secret. This statement by Mr. Merz only once again underlines the level of competence of the people who have now broken through to power in Europe, Lavrov told reporters in Moscow on Tuesday, during a news conference with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. On Monday, Friedrich Merz said Germany and other major allies are no longer imposing any range limits on weapons delivered to Ukraine. That was at least a change in rhetoric from the previous German administration under Olaf Scholz, but left open questions. Asked what his comments meant Tuesday, Merz replied that, as far as I know, and that is what I set out yesterday, the countries that imposed range restrictions have long since given up these conditions. So I described yesterday in Berlin something that has been the case for months, namely, that Ukraine has the right also to use the weapons that are delivered beyond its own borders against military targets on Russian territory, he added at a news conference in Turku, Finland. From my point of view, that is necessary. Only someone who is also put in a position to attack military bases on the territory of the aggressor can defend themselves.
Это заявление господина Мерца только лишний раз подчеркивает уровень компетентности лиц, которые сейчас в Европе прорвались к власти. И он вчера сказал с таким пафосом, что вот отныне и вовеки никаких ограничений на дальность ударов не остается, причем говорил и за себя, и за Францию, и за Британию, и за Соединенные Штаты. Через несколько минут или там через час вице-канцлер этого господина Мерца сказал, что вообще ни о чем подобном речи не шло и не идет. То же самое сказали, как я понимаю, в Бундесвере, представители Бундесвера. И потом господин Мерц, видимо, разобравшись, что же он такое сказал, заявил, что он имел в виду не новое решение, а какое-то решение, которое было принято еще предыдущей администрацией в Берлине, что лишний раз наводит нас на мысли относительно того, что решение разрешить Украине, чего она, собственно, захочет, ну, по крайней мере, в каких-то пределах, но в отношении нанесения ударов по целям на российской территории, оно было принято давно, оно держалось в тайне.